Howdy folks, Luke Simons with you. Back to the Basics 101. Today we're putting in a cattle guard. Actually, the cattle guard has already been installed. A friend of mine came and put this in actually about a year ago. Exactly a year ago. And we're just putting the finishing touches on it. He put his brand in it, and I'll show you the more details, what we're doing. A little landscaping goes into a cattle guard. Put up a gate. Didn't get any of that filmed. That was kind of a last moment effort. Turned out pretty wonderful though. I'll show you what we're doing here today. This little trick right here is going to save you, if you're ranching, farming, homesteading, thousands of dollars over the course of your lifetime. Actually, maybe even tens of thousands of dollars. Check it out. So what we have here is used motor oil, and we are putting up wood rails. Now, if you've watched the show very long at all, you know that we do a lot of recycling. And if you want to make wood last forever, this is what we're using. In this case, we're using straight used motor oil. I don't know if that's diesel motor oil. I think that's gas, just from vehicles, motor oil there. And you can see we saturate that and it soaks it up. This post here is 80 years old. I pulled it out of the ground, off an old fence line, and we put it back here. Check this out. Seeing this? You take yourself a good axe and you make that pretty straight so that it bumps up against this post. You seen that? A couple nails with washers, and those are shank nails. They're very, very brittle. You kind of want to use safety glasses. Don't ask my kids if I did, because I didn't. And these are just cedar posts. But you can see what we did here. It's just made those so that we had a square side here, something to pound against, and a square side to sit up against the post. And the reason you want to do that is otherwise they want to roll off. They will roll off in time. Fencing tools to have around. And of course, beautiful young ladies to help out. Put up some rails here, and this is our fence. Oh, and this fence actually has a little character here. The character is, I didn't have to cut those down. Oh no. Beaver did that for me. Almost fell backwards. Here, I put a little wood stay in here. And normally I just make my stays out of smooth horse wire. That's what my stays look like. Okay, if you can see that, that's what a stay looks like. But I put a wood stay in, which again is a beaver. Boy, you wouldn't want to be bit by one of those guys. And the reason I did that is I don't want pilgrims to come through here and drive through my gates. And believe it or not, I've had a lot of city people drive through my gates, just not knowing what they're looking for. Nope, I could stick a nail in there quite a ways. You want to, anytime you have a crack in your wood, especially on the top part, you want to saturate it. See how the oil is saturated in there? And the reason for it is that's a rot point. The water is going to go in that point, and it's going to rot from the inside out. That's what it will do. Promise you, it will do that. So if you were to pour water on that, it just beads right off. And as that, it will soak in. That will soak in. And we are using it straight. There's no diesel in there. You can, use a quarter diesel, dyed diesel, quarter, whatever. If I had diesel, I might put some diesel in there, old icky diesel. Absolutely, it would work. Hydraulic oil, any kind of oil will work. You can dumb it down with dyed diesel. Some people say kerosene. If you want to spend the money on kerosene, that's fine. Dyed diesel, good to go too. So anyways, now we landscaped with this scoria. on both ends. Otherwise, that'll fill in. My wife just hit a little bit of Roundup, organic Roundup. Just kidding. There's no such thing as organic Roundup. To kill those weeds because they were coming through, and you don't want that. I need to put some more scoria on that side. Big scoria rocks. And this here is ash. And they last as long as cedar if you don't put them in the ground. Old 83. Put her up there. Now my buddy that came and did this for me, he put his initials in there. Not his initials, his brand rather. And just kind of a nice gift that he did. Did that with a skid steer. Built it up with railroad ties. And he landscaped it so that it comes up. Otherwise the water will just come in and backfill that, and your cattle will walk right by it. So he actually built a hill there. Put them up. This is on railroad ties on both sides, 2 high on each side. And then this here, the ground actually comes up to it, and that's why I put the scoria rocks there so that the dirt wouldn't backfill into here. And it turned out pretty slick actually. So I installed the gate just with a chain, I guess, and that was for a bell on a milk cow. And obviously an old steel wheel. Just a couple homemade hinges. That one's bought, I guess. Oops. A little bit of Luke's Magic Oil on there. And cut that off with the grinder real quick. And of course I drilled a hole in there and put a real nice cotter pin there. Fancy one. And there we are. Lock her up. And that's what she looks like, folks. If you enjoy these shows, how you can let us know is be part of the crowd that leaves comments. You know, it's as the show gets bigger, it's hard to respond to everybody, but believe it, I read every comment. And we live in a negative world, and I try not to be negative. I truly do try not to be negative. At times I think I fail, but I try not to be negative. You hitting the thumbs up button is telling us thank you. I'm telling you, we're not doing it for the money. Not that my show is big enough to make a whole lot of money. This month we did make like $734, which is pretty awesome, pretty spectacular. I think that's our highest ever. Average, I think lately has been like 500, 400, somewhere in there, 430, somewhere in there. Summertime we have a couple more shows that take off a little bit more, and some of them we actually make like $100 and some bucks, or a couple $100 off of per month. But lately Google, you know, the rumor has been, and I guess kind of what I've seen too, if you are a conservative or a Christian and you don't fall into their propaganda, you get demonetized. And that's just the facts of it. And so you leaving comments really does help us. It helps us jump up on the playlist. But my wife is coming. It looks like she needs some help. She's unloading the old 79 Ford. So I better get back to work. My daughters are in town. My wife has a jumpers to go business, renting bounce houses, things like that in town, and Dakota runs that. I think she averages like $80 an hour when she's on the trail. So that's pretty good, and Cheyenne makes a percentage of what Dakota makes. So a pretty good deal. My daughter's back there. Seeing them? They're goofing off. Girls, what are you doing? Get to work, you union girls. So, anyways, may the Lord guide and keep you. Happy trails. If you wouldn't mind, pray for my health. Just pray for me. Been going through a little bit lately. And, you know, hard times make for good people. But if you would, just say a couple prayers for me. If you would, your family or whatnot. And for my family. And also a good friend of mine, Bo and Holly. If you'd pray for them as well. They're going through it right now. A good friend of mine, their daughter just got on a scooter, believe it or not, on a little moped, just got ran over. She's 14, beautiful little girl, polite, hard worker, kind, just a good kid. Got ran over by a semi. So you can about imagine. To make it worse, their mother seen it, and the father seen it about 5 minutes afterwards. And it was bad. It was really bad. So if you would pray for Bo and Holly, good friends, for me, I would sure appreciate it. Funerals tomorrow. Again, thanks for watching. Happy trails.